Hey, we're live. Cellular Healing TV, episode 69. Hashimoto's autoimmune related thyroid conditions, part 2. David did part 1. I am blessed to talk and ask Dr. Pompa questions along with all of our listeners today. Dr. Pompa, let's jump right into this topic. I know that thyroid conditions are an epidemic. There's a lot of conditions that are epidemic, but it's one of the most undiagnosed conditions, especially in this topic of autoimmune, because autoimmune affects probably 90% of America, and 80% of those who have a thyroid condition have an autoimmune related thyroid condition. That's what they say. So Dr. Pompa, let's go through part 2 today.
Yeah, we had such a strong reaction, just to the little bit we spoke about thyroid conditions last week, that actually it was 2 weeks ago, for those looking for part 1. So it wasn't last week. Last week, we talked about orthorexia, and we discovered how many people out there actually have orthorexia. We don't think about that in eating disorders in males, but wow, what a show that was. So go back and watch it. But it was the show right before orthorexia, and we just had so many people respond with concerns about their thyroid in general. And I had made the comment on that show that, look, about 80% of thyroid conditions is estimated to be autoimmune. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Well, my doctor checked and mine wasn't. Well, unfortunately, by the time the antibodies, and that's what they look at, thyroid antibodies, to see if your thyroid condition is autoimmune, by the time they're actually elevated, you've been autoimmune for quite some time. So there's undiagnosed autoimmune. Now, here's the worst part, Warren, is that most doctors, they don't even check. They run TSH and, total T4, I mean, the typical standard thyroid panel. And the reason most doctors don't check is because their treatment's the same, whether you have autoimmune thyroid or whether you don't. And that's a shame, because it's really, the way we look at these two conditions, it's completely different. So I can't imagine that the most of the medical community, looks at these conditions as the same. Well, look, they treat them the same. I mean, that's a more fair statement. And that's why they don't measure autoimmune in most people. But the facts are this, and there is a lot of debate, and I know because I've got the questions even from 2 weeks ago about, well, great, what do you do for thyroid? Can we take iodine? Most people know that, the
Right.
proper iodine and the proper ratio and the proper orthomolecular amounts, has a dramatic effect on hypothyroid. However, many said, well, how do I know? Because we know that if you have autoimmune, then you can't take iodine, because there's a lot on the internet on that. Well, that's simply not true. We'll discuss today on the right way to take iodine. And I believe, like many experts out there, that you actually need iodine for every thyroid condition, even the autoimmune. So we're going to break that false thinking today.
And one of the things on that, I mean, iodine deficiency, does that lead, because I know that iodine's a big thing, and then people are afraid of it too because of what's out there on the internet. But is iodine deficiency, Dr. Pompa, pretty rampant, and what causes someone to be iodine deficient?
Yeah, I mean, it's estimated that at least 1/3 of people in this country are severely iodine deficient, which goes along with, by the way, having problems with the brain, IQ. As we see iodine deficiency levels drop, we see IQ levels drop in children. Yep. So it plays a very important role in the brain, not just the thyroid. Also, hormones. We know that it plays a large role in breast health, tissue health. So it plays a large role in certain types of breast cancer, other types of breast conditions. So yeah, I mean, look, we know that iodine, the lower it goes, the more thyroid problems that we have in certain areas. And the places at greatest risk are typically the places inland, so, looking at the central part of what's happening in the United States. Now, again, that was 1/3. There's, other estimates that 2/3, of the United States, have some type of, iodine deficiency, not severe deficiency, whether it's moderate or mild. and again, most of it becoming, people around the Midwest. Now, simply, that used to be the case. I think that's changing, Warren, because what's happening on the West Coast with Fukushima, we have larger amounts of radiation, radioactive cesium, things like that play a deficient role. So we have other reasons why people on the coast are, becoming more iodine deficient. Also because people just move, right? I mean, so the statistics are really spreading out.
So the Fukushima radiation massively depletes someone of iodine then.
Yeah, and by the way, another really good reason to take iodine. I said the proper iodine with the proper ratio. I'll explain this in a minute. This is one product that has the proper ratio of iodine to iodide, and iodine has different functions in the body versus the iodide. So a 5-to-2 ratio is what's been shown to work for our thyroid conditions. But yeah, so iodine, actually, Warren, people on the West Coast, they all should be taking iodine. And we'll talk unless you have Hashimoto's, we'll tell you a different strategy here.
Right.
But anyways, the iodine protects against these types of radiation. So as we're doing more and more urine challenge tests from people on the West Coast, we see these, cesium levels that have just risen dramatically. I mean, 1,000, 2,000, even 3,000 above what's considered normal. So we know that there's some connection to, Fukushima there. And fish eating also, because obviously it's getting into the fish. So, the point is, though, is iodine is the antidote to that. Iodine is magic when it comes to, if you do have high radioactive levels, iodine is critical. When I go to Hawaii, Hawaii has just naturally really high radiation levels, probably from the volcanic activity, but I take a lot of iodine. When I fly, I take a lot of iodine. Why? Because when you're flying, you actually, believe it or not, get massive amounts of radiation. And people with thyroid conditions, they really have a lot of problems with jet lag and, just problems just feeling fatigued. And, and it's typically your thyroid people because of the amounts of radiation. Well, if you take a lot of this stuff right here, people go, oh, I don't have as much problems traveling. So we have another little antidote. We use GF thyroid with that and some melatonin. But anyways, all kinds of good little treats today of, how to not get jet lag and how to deal with radiation. But our topic is thyroid, and we want to make sure we hit that. But great topics, love this stuff.
Well, so let's get into this topic. If someone has Hashimoto's and they're diagnosed, and everyone in that, most doctors in the natural health world, and of course, medical doctors, and rightfully so, not to take iodine, because it's going to throw them in what they call a thyroid storm. I never experienced that. I know I never, I don't deal with clients or health participants on a weekly or even daily basis. So what is it? What is it to go into a thyroid storm, and how can they navigate, taking iodine? Because iodine, in a lot of the literature, you've shared this in the past, Dr. Pompa, is the solution to Hashimoto's, but yet there's a special way to do it, and it's not being talked about. So it needs to be right today.
Yeah. Look, first of all, there's many people out there that says, oh, well, I'm allergic to iodine. Every time I take it, I get a reaction. No, you're not allergic to iodine. You would die. So the point is you're having a reaction to iodine. Iodine, there's a lot of different, hypothesis of why iodine causes this negative reaction. Some of it's severe, and you mentioned the word thyroid storm. Where people their legs get weak. I mean, they feel like, put it this way, many of them end up going to the hospital and thinking they're having this massive allergic reaction. Or you get emails of people, okay, I took iodine and, now I just feel horrible. I have no energy. Any of those reactions can occur. So what is the cause? There's some theories. One is, we know that iodine, it goes in and attaches to these receptors. A lot of those receptors have heavy metals that are all over these receptors. Mm-hmm. And it has an effect where it kicks these types of toxins, even halogen types of chemicals, chloride, bromine, which so many people are exposed today. These chemicals affect the thyroid very negatively. And these chemicals come in, they attach to those receptors, and they block your thyroid hormone. They can actually trigger the autoimmune. Well, iodine can kick those off. That's one of the reasons why I believe you need iodine to fix the thyroid, even just to clear the receptors. But again, we're gonna talk about a more reasonable way to dose it.
Could someone get symptoms? And I know that I've gotten symptoms taking thyroid, and I'm definitely always taking iodine. And then if I take too much, I get symptoms. Is it because I'm knocking off toxins possibly?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it does. It does. It clears toxins from thyroid receptors, whether it's on the cell, the thyroid itself. So we know that's, part of the case. We know that people who are in a state of inflammation, certain cytokine activity, and even certain hormones that are elevated that shouldn't be elevated, can drive this inflammation and therefore cause, these, we'll call them thyroid storms for now, these negative reactions, at least to the iodine. So therefore down-regulating inflammation, down-regulating cytokine activity plays a big role. Now, it was Dr. Brownstein that for years has talked about the need for iodine and how to take it with, autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's properly and reasonably. He talks about building up your selenium levels first as being part of this too. So I'm a believer just in general, you have to down-regulate inflammation to a point first. So typically iodine with someone with Hashimoto's, it's not something we start with, it's something that we lead to. As we decrease some of the inflammation, put people on, antioxidants. And one thing that he talked about is looking at somebody's selenium levels. If somebody's selenium levels are below 140 on blood, which by the way is still in normal range. A lot of the normal ranges go to even 120. But according to his work and others, that if you have selenium that is below even 140, so you could be sitting at 140, 135, and that's not a good number. We need to raise up the selenium first, as well as something called methylation. So there's a product, I don't have it in front of me, it's called MORS, M-O-R-S. The same company who makes this TMI makes it, systemic. And it's the perfect combination of selenium and methylation donors for people that have methyl tetrahydrofolate problems. That is the gene that predisposes you to methylation problems because
I have some. Hold on.
You can't use certain folates, right? And MORS has the active form and it has the selenium. So it has the active form of folate and the selenium has all the methyl donors. So we definitely want to start people with that product first. I think Warren went to try to find it. But anyways, so raising up the selenium above 140, raising up people's methylation, their methyl donors, and giving them certain antioxidants. So there's another product that the same company makes, Rox. So
you're gonna make me grab all the supplements I have on my shelf, my personal stash right over here on my shelf. But here's I do the liquid MORS because honestly, the pills are so powerful. This doses it down for me, so I do like 1 to 2 dropperfuls of this every day. For methylation, I have the MTHR, whatever they call that new code word to add more fear into your life. It doesn't even mean it's triggered, but the way to untrigger your genes, obviously, is to do high levels of methylation. I know that the research is clear on that. So I take this a lot, and it makes me feel better. And then I also take the TMI every day. So those are on my shelf.
I have a homozygous MTHFR genotype. That means that I got the gene from my mom and my dad. So they're typically the people who really have problems with methylation of folate. And years ago I did a SpectraCell. SpectraCell is an intracellular nutrient test, and I came out with one thing that I was deficient in: folate. Go figure.
I remember that. I remember that day. Yep. Yeah, I was too.
I didn't know that I had the gene, methyl tetrahydrofolate gene. But some people, can't take folate. I could always take folate. I never got a reaction, even though I was the double gene. So there's a lot of science that we don't understand yet about those SNPs. I've looked into them, a lot, and I can tell you it's not as clear cut as people think. So another story, but that is a great show, by the way, that we should do, because a lot of people, we get a lot of emails on that, Warren, that I answer.
Yeah, but it's fear-based, and you live in fear when you don't have a solution. And a lot of people sell things on fear. pain and pleasure. I mean, that's it. And so you just can't, there's always an answer, you know, if you're willing to look and search and spend the time. And so don't live in fear. You know, I won't even, you know, if it's going to put you in fear, do the things, assume that you have it and just live the right life and you won't have to worry about it. So I mean, it's good to know testing's great, but if it's going to, you know, keep you sick because you think that you're broken, you know, make sure you're strong enough to understand that you're not broken or something's wrong with you. A lot of people have these bad genes and they have to be triggered, and they're triggered by lifestyle. So if you're living an amazing, healthy life and you're methylating and you're watching shows like this and listening to amazing podcasts, don't, you know, I'm not trying to make people like you have to overdo life, but if you get a test, you know, make sure it's not, someone's not forcing you to do something because the test says it. As far as here's the point I'm trying to make, Dr. Pompa. I haven't made my point yet. You know, it's not my gift. I'm an interviewer. You know, I'm not a health expert. I'm not a radio show expert. I'm Warren. You know, Warren does his thing and he says off the cuff things. But the name, who was that? Angela Jolene, right? Yeah. She had this bad breast gene, right? Yeah, and so she cut them off. You know, she cut them off because she had a bad gene. That's what I'm saying. You know, so if you get the test and something's wrong, don't think that you're broken and have to cut anything off. You know, so
yeah,
there you go.
Started with that example. That was a good example.
Yeah, I knew it was in there.
Worked from there. Your brain was in there towards it. I saw
and
that.
Since I already take us off topic a little bit, I have to say. So I paused earlier because I forgot what I wanted to say.
Okay, so but I'll finish part of your point, being as we went down that way.
I just wanted to say congratulations. Your first kid has graduated high school. So I just want to bless you and tell the community that Dr. Pompa is letting one go of the 5 into its world all by herself. So congratulations. I saw her picture back there. So that's my second cousin. So I'm very proud.
Here, let me show that.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Beautiful girl.
So people love when we take breaks and do this stuff. So there she is, huh?
Look at that.
There she is on those pictures.
That's a beautiful girl. Brings tears in my eyes. You know, I remember coming to your house sick, Dr. Pompa, and you had these 2 beautiful children in your life that you inherited and adopted and made your own. And it just brings tears in my eyes to see. I've been through everything with you, and the journey has been challenging but yet amazing. And to see the fruit of your labor, of your hard work and dedication to this mission, and never losing focus on the calling of God on your life, and getting to see that fruit, you know, it truly does bring tears in my eyes. So
it's amazing, you know, when you look at that, and you know, we shed some tears over this graduation, you know, because we had a long struggle there. You know, we were under severe attack when we took those children on from, you know, another side of the family, and it was horrific and very, very difficult. And people always say, "Oh, you still have the kids," you know, and I always go, "Oh, they must have read the media stuff back when," you know, when they say that, because I mean, they were saying things like the kids were taken from us, you know, and those kids are 18 years old now. You know, we had them since they were 7 years old. You know, what a journey. You know, what a journey it's been. But the blessings are on the other side of every adversity, folks. I can promise you that. And, you know, gosh, my life lays witness to that. There's no doubt about it. Well, anyways,
finish my point.
I'm going to finish the point. Those polymorphisms, as they're called, you know, the body, it's not so simple. The body adapts. You know, the innate intelligence has ways. Yeah, you may have these 2 genes that, yes, predispose you to certain problems, but the body's so darn intelligent that it strengthens other pathways. And I think that's what we're just now learning, that we can look at these genes, and yes, we see predispositions, but the body, the innate intelligence, it knows. So guess what it does? It finds other ways to increase folate, for example. It finds other ways to break things down. It'll find another enzyme. It'll find another enzyme pathway. I mean, it really is remarkable. And I think that, you know, as I study those topics, you know, I become less reliant on just because somebody has a gene, you know, that we have to even treat them a certain way. So I think we have to be a little bit careful, but it still gives us some information, you know, but remember, the body innate intelligence is far superior. And when we see 15% of the population with something that looks like a problem, well, that's a pretty large portion of the population that has, you know, what I have and you have. So the body figures it out. Anyways, okay, so let's finish this point about iodine. You know, Warren, I think that what we have to realize is that when you have these autoimmune types of thyroid conditions, you need the iodine, but you have to start really slow and low, as I always say. Start slow, start low, meaning low dose, and go very slowly as you increase it. So
right.
We start sometimes even with, and by the way, the same product comes in a liquid. So we can start with even the most minute amount of iodine. I mean, even 1 gram, 3 grams, and we work up to maybe 50 or even 100 grams.
Milligrams, you mean?
Yeah, milligrams. I'm sorry.
Milligrams.
So this product, for example, 1 pill in this has about 12 milligrams. Okay. So oftentimes for the average person, that's perfect daily amount. However, for someone with autoimmune, we want to start with the liquid, and we start with drops. And when you start that low and you work your way up, you're not going to see these reactions. Okay, now just as a reminder, because we got off topic, what do we start with first? Downregulating inflammation via diet, downregulating inflammation with methylation, that Moore's product, increasing selenium levels. There's another product, ENRG, that I like to take, because there's certain things in that help the energy pathway, which reflects methylation. A lot of Brownstein's work, he talked about giving them B1 and B3 and different things, again, to affect ATP. So we want to raise up ATP. We want to lower inflammation. We want to raise up methylation. Oh my gosh, I just spit out the 5 R's, didn't I, Warren?
Yeah.
There they are, right? Cell energy is R number 3. R number 5 is methylation. R number 4 is inflammation. So you want the 5 R's. Folks, if you don't know what that is, I have articles all over the website about each one of those R's. The 5 R's is a roadmap to how you fix a cell. So we want to, in brief, we want to upregulate cellular function, 5 R's, before we start the iodine. So that may take a couple months. And then we start low dosing the iodine from drops to pills, all the way up to 50, even 100 milligrams, which is called an orthomolecular amount. Okay, that's the iodine part of that protocol.
Now, I want to make a point there, though. You best be working with a natural health practitioner who understands the 5 R's, that understands methylation, that understands how to dose you up properly. Because if you take this and it throws you into Thyroid Storm, it is, it's not good. It's bad. It's a bad thing to do that. So you need to be careful and, do run that blood work, know where you stand, and so just be careful there, guys. So, but, there is an answer, and no one wants to tell you that you can, you can support your thyroid naturally. You can support your Hashimoto's condition, and you can, and your body can heal itself. And
hey, look, we're not going to say the word treat. The word is support, right, in our world, and that's fine. It makes no difference to me. And however, many of you out there are on meds. We can't tell you to stop your meds. We can't tell you to.
Nor do we want to.
Nor do we want to. You can work with your doctor on that. But I will say this: you're going to need to work with one, because you're going to need less and less levels, and that can make you feel worse because you're taking too much. And I'm sure many of you have experienced that.
Yeah, you just talk to your doctor. Hey, this is too much for me. Can you back me down here? And before you know it, he may say you don't need it anymore. You're doing great.
It happens all the time, Warren. It happens all the time. And I'm not sure what we would call that when you need thyroid and now you don't. I could think of a word that we'd get in trouble if we said, but we won't say that.
But your doctor will be happy. You're like, I don't know how that happened, but that's awesome. I hear it all the time.
Healing that the body did. That's what I call that. Anyways, yeah.
The body did it. It always does.
It is amazing. Now here's what's going to back your point that you really need a coach for this, because look, the thyroid, I'm a believer. You never completely get well until you go upstream and figure out what the cause is and remove it. You could take iodine and feel better. You could take the Moors and feel better. You could take some of the 5R stuffs and feel better. But where does the answer truly lie? removing the source upstream. That's R number one, folks. We've covered every R in this program. R number one is remove the source, and now the body will heal. That's the incredible part about that innate intelligence that God put in our body. You remove the interference, the body does the healing every stinking time. Now, here's why this is an important topic with thyroid, because the thyroid is the canary in the coal mine, meaning that it is very, very sensitive to toxins. Remember, they used to bring the bird, the canary, down in the coal mine because it would die first when certain gases were, coming out in the coal mine, whether it was the, I guess, methane gas, whatever other gases are released in potential mines. But those canaries would die and they would get the heck out of that mine. Well, that's your thyroid. Very sensitive to chemicals like chlorine that we're exposed to everywhere in our water, what we do, what we drink, what we put on our body.
Trimethylanes, right?
Trimethyl, yeah. They're halogen type of chemicals. And really is the category, right? By the way, same category as iodine. Halogen chemical, halogen. So it is the same, but it doesn't have the toxic effects, right? So they bind to the same receptors. Bromine, which is just about in everything that people are doing. Warren, we did the video where we showed the steam out of the shower, whereas a 10-minute shower is like drinking 10 glasses of chlorinated water. So people say, oh, I drink water, filtered water. Yeah, but most of you are showering in water that has chlorine and fluoride, which is another halogen type of chemical that binds to thyroid receptors. Remember, this is the canary in the coal mine. Binds to these receptors, blocks all function, creates all types of problems, and autoimmune. You're breathing that in, going right into your lungs and your bloodstream, these toxins. Oh, and then maybe every once in a while you take the what are the jacuzzis, which we never get in, right, Warren?
Nope.
The jacuzzis are loaded with bromine. They're loaded with chlorine. I mean, it literally is a thyroid storm, bath that you're sitting in. And people get out of those things and wonder why they don't feel well. They just sat there and absorbed and breathed chlorine and bromine. I mean, you want to talk about both of those are in my thyroid toxic top 5, as well as heavy metals. People that have silver fillings, these metals are sitting right above your thyroid, and they have such a profound effect on your thyroid. So
no wonder why people are having so many. I mean, again, it makes sense that so many individuals have thyroid challenges. Something just went loud in my office, but if it's a canary in the coal mine, if it's that sensitive, and it's the main players were most watching this, even this show today. I mean, even if they have an RO system, which some of the more educated folks that watch this show do, and it's not just about you. That's the point. It's like, what about the group that's out there still drinking chlorinated water? What about the group that doesn't have whole house or can't afford whole house, water filtration? It's actually pretty or has, still have amalgam fillings. I mean, you don't have hope. No wonder why you're weight loss resistant. No wonder why your hair is falling out, and no one wants to, have any answers. That's why this show it's not negative. It's not fearful. We're giving hope because your body can heal itself, and again, a lot of the natural health world, they just did another great, amazing show. I think it was Dave Asprey. He did a great show called Moldy, and he pitched the whole thing of how toxic it is. He had Shoemaker on there, Dr. Mark Heineman, two friends of Phil. So you've seen Phil on the show, close friends with both of those individuals, but they didn't give an answer. They just created the fear. And you should be fearful of black mold. I'm sure it jacks up your thyroid as well.
No, it does. I mean, look, any neurotoxin attaches to these receptors, and it can create a problem. I mean, obviously, the heavy metal issue is a big issue. Warren, mercury attaches, heavy metals, period, mercury the worst of all of them.
Right to your thyroid.
These thyroid receptors that are on every cell and your thyroid, what happens is that they're called selenium receptors. That's why this selenium plays such a big role, right? So, we know that the selenium receptor acts as this magnet that pulls these thyroid hormones in. And, well, guess what else binds to selenium? Heavy metals, you see? So the heavy metals start blocking the receptor. Your immune system starts looking at this selenium, heavy metal combination as something really dangerous and bad. So what does it do? It starts drumming up antibodies against it, aka autoimmune. Now your body's creating inflammation, creating a bigger problem. Yeah, and your doctor's treating it the same. Are you kidding me? So I mean, step one is know if you're autoimmune, folks, and it's sometimes difficult because the tests do take some years to go before they show up positive.
And that's reverse T3, right, Dr. Pompa?
Well, that's a whole other topic that we probably need a part 3 to, because we really, when we look at reverse T3, most doctors don't even run that blood work, so they don't even run the right blood work. Reverse T3 is to show if your stressors, chemical, emotional, or physical, are driving your thyroid problem. And we use reverse T3 in a ratio with free T3. And there's a certain ratio that we look at that if you don't fall into, then yes, your stressors can be blocking your receptors on the cell. So I've spoken at length in the past, and now I'm going to have to draw a circle or two. But
you are going to have to start drawing your circles, Dr. Pompa.
I'm going to actually use a very toxic marker so everyone can see it. I don't usually use these.
You're going to use a Sharpie?
Oh God, can you believe it, Warren?
No, I can't believe. Back in the day, you would never have.
Well, folks, these things are toxic. Don't use them. And I'm going to use it very quickly. That's the cell, right? Here is, oh God.
You're holding your breath.
Here's the receptor on the cell. So I said that mercury, which is Hg, can bind to that. I could put a mold guy on there, which is a biotoxin. I can put chlorine. I can put fluoride. I mean, so any of these chemicals can bind onto that receptor. And now when it does, your immune system looks at that and it starts to form antibodies on that. That's a problem. So this is a problem. These receptors are the key. This is where T3, active thyroid hormone, has to bind to, okay? Reverse T3 is made to block instead of it, meaning it's the opposite of T3, right? So the reverse T3, which we call RT3, binds to these T3 receptors instead. Well, why would your body do this? Well, when you've had the flu in the past, do you ever feel like you just didn't want to leave your couch, right? You had no energy. Well, what happens in times of stress, RT3 is formed instead of T3. RT3 then binds to the receptors to block the energy that the T3 gives when it goes into the cell. So your body is purposely blocking energy, so you have energy for other things and healing.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It shuts down one pathway in a time of stress to conserve its sources to deal with the stress because it wants to survive. Well, hold on a second. After the flu goes away, or the chronic emotional stressor, right, of whatever happened, then it stops that process. It starts to form more of the T3, not as much of the RT3. And then you feel normal and have normal energy. But what if your stress becomes chronic? Chronic emotional stressors or chronic toxic stressors. Now you start producing always more RT3. And now the RT3 is blocking literally your own thyroid receptors. It doesn't matter how much medication you take. It doesn't matter how much anything you take because your body is literally causing the blocking. So, and again, same with autoimmune. The body is blocking it with inflammation, driving it and causing it. So you have to go upstream and ask, what is up here that's causing the RT3 to rise up? The body to block the receptor either via autoimmune or this, what we call, RT3 dominance, too much of this that's blocking the receptor. Listen, Warren, this is what I want to finish the show on because many people watching this say, I think I have a thyroid issue. My hair is thinning, it's falling out, my skin is dry, I have no energy, I can't get rid of this fat like I used to even with a perfect diet, doesn't matter how much I exercise. How often do we hear that, Warren?
All the time.
All the time. This is a massive epidemic. Can't lose weight. We call it weight loss resistance.
Yeah.
Have no energy. I have a thyroid problem, maybe. My girlfriend did. She told me I should go get tested. I went and got tested. My blood work was normal.
Mine too.
Why does this occur? Well, without taking the lid off the Sharpie, which I'm not going to do, and I'm going to enjoy my fresh air at the moment. So, okay, I'm struggling with this. There. Okay, so now these receptors right here, once they get blocked, your blood work looks normal with your T3. sends a signal to your hypothalamus and pituitary, and your brain thinks that all is okay because it sees normal levels of T3, the active hormone. So what does it do? Your TSH looks normal. Everything looks normal, except you're not getting the message in the cell. That's bad. There's one other thing I'll add. One other thing. T4 is typically the medication that they give people. It's the hormone. That's called T4. Right. Thyroxine, Synthroid. That has to be converted to the active form of T3. Okay? This conversion, most of it takes place in the liver. What if your liver is toxic or not functioning well? Blood work typically looks normal there too on liver enzymes because that's a disease state. But let's say the function of converting T4 to T3 is being affected because certain enzymes are affected. Now you don't convert the T4 to the T3. Your blood work looks normal. Or here, worse yet, Warren, you're taking the medication. The medication will make these levels come up, but the T3 doesn't get in the cell. So even though the medication made your blood work look normal, you still don't feel well. How many times do we get that story told, right?
Take a medication and I still don't feel well. Yep.
Either the medication made these hormones out here normal, but they can't get in the cell.
Blood work is normal.
Not converting the hormone that they're giving you. Looks good on blood, makes the TSH look better, but you're not converting it. Toxins play a role there. Lack of selenium. Drop in selenium, which we mentioned at the top of the show, also plays a role in this not converting. So
why can't they just give straight T3?
Well, and they do, and that helps some people more. When they go to their doctor and say, my friend took T3, but doctors hate giving T3 because it's not normal protocol. So they feel at risk when they give people T3.
What is T3? They have synthetic forms or natural forms?
Well, Armour Thyroid was the more natural form that had T4 and T3, and that's why so many people did better. Desiccated thyroid.
Desiccated. Which is essentially ground up pig thyroid or ground up?
Pig hormone, exactly. Yeah. Which people that didn't make that conversion, Warren, did better with it. But then now it's hard to get. And Armour Thyroid is made with gluten now and other proteins, so people are having allergy reactions. They change the formula along.
Can never be simple, can it? You know.
But here's the problem: even by taking the T3, if your cells inflame, which what is that? 95% of America, the hormone, the receptor to the T3 on the cell is blunted because of the inflammation, or reverse T3, right? And so it doesn't matter. Even taking the T3 because it can't get the message in the cell. I mean, that's
why the 5 R's works. I mean, that's why those are God's gift to cellular healing. You know, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. R number 4, reduce inflammation.
Yeah, I mean, you did exactly. And by the way, R number 1. You know, what's driving that inflammation? You know, besides
your amalgam fillings, you know, your water, you know, those sorts of things. So these little switches that people can do, you know, are massive. I mean, the information is there, man. You know, we have the toxic top 10. Get those out of your life. You know, I mean, toxictop10.com. You know, that stuff is still really important to getting your life back.
Something on Facebook about fabric softeners, and her Facebook people were like, "Wow, we didn't know this." I'm like, "Wow, really?" I mean, she was talking about how many chemicals are in them and how toxic they are, and how hormone disrupting. And then she, you know, put something about the laundry detergent people are using. People are still using Tide and these main brands that are out there. They're loaded with toxins. Your neighbor starts doing, you know when they have fabric softener because you can smell it through the neighborhood. You know, you can smell it on their clothes. You know, people would come into our office, Warren, they would stink the whole office up, these fabric softener users. But listen, that's one of the toxic top 10. Get that stuff out of your life. If you don't remove the sources, it doesn't matter what you take. It doesn't matter how you eat. You know, so you've got.
I had a conversation with a guy on the phone today. He's actually I'm into bass fishing, and he's a professional bass fisherman. And he was saying, he asked me, "What do I do for a living?" So I just called him up. You know, that's what I do. If I do something, I want to talk to some of the best around. And he's like, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm natural health and wellness." We, you know, downplayed it, of course, you know, because most people don't know even what I do is here in Pittsburgh. But he's like, "Oh, great, I need to lose some weight. Can you get me a supplement?" Of course I had to tell him, you know what, man, you know, you build houses, you build, you know, custom, you know, homes. Taking a supplement is like having mold behind your walls, you know, having shoddy construction and putting a nice finish on it. You with junk drywall from China. When you build something, you put on the best drywall, you make sure that the job's done right. I said, if I gave you a supplement, it would just be like, maybe it may help you lose weight, man. Yeah, I can give you a supplement that could probably help, for a time, upregulate metabolism, maybe make you less hungry, so you lose a little weight because you're not overeating as much. But I said, at the end of the day, man, I'm lying to you. I'm just putting, just like those other contractors that just do a shoddy job. It has to come down to your, for him, I told him diet, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing, because that is the true reason, you're going to reduce your inflammation and have, normal blood work. And I told him the story about my brother losing 55 pounds, because he switched his diet, and he used to be in a big exercise, side of things. And so, I mean, you got to get to the source. You can't just throw a supplement at it.
Yeah, Warren, how many people today, you had thyroid issues with normal blood?
Absolutely, and I took desiccated thyroid, yep, and I made sure that it took me months to find the right one, the one where they wouldn't put fillers in and all this stuff, just a pure desiccated thyroid, and it was so hard to find. I had to go all over the country, compounding pharmacists to do it, and it made a difference.
And we're going to get that question, well, should I take a hormone, should I not? It helps some people, it doesn't help others, but it can be a crutch. It's only a crutch. It's not, it's not a cure. We know that. While you're working upstream to the cause. And Warren, as you got the metal out of your brain, out of your hypothalamus pituitary, off of your cells, you got well. Hey, you got warm.
You know what the amazing thing is?
Your hands got warm. Your feet
You're
got
right. My hand. You just told me. You just reminded me of like how bad my thyroid was. Because I used to have cold hands. I don't have cold hands all the time.
Yeah, they would turn blue, man. I mean, it's like. It was.
Yeah, these things are hot. I mean, this is amazing. You forget. I talked to Phil the other day. It's like I forgot how sick I was. I really do. I mean, he was telling me about a symptom that somebody had, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember feeling that way. Until you said that, I forgot. I forgot. Taking a hit. We used to cut. I took a hit and literally wiping me out for 4 days where I couldn't sleep, anxiety, heart palpitations, like all this stuff. 4 days of my life would be ruined, because I tried to live a normal life. And then the crazy thing is like in it, you're like, am I just crazy? Could this really be happening to me? Because you live in denial, it's like, because no one else believes you, and you can't believe that you're that sick over a chemical exposure. How could it happen? And then you come to the realization, you come to the awareness. First it's anger, you go through the whole process, then you're like, yeah, it's true. You come to accept, that really did happen to you, because it's so mind-boggling, that you can happen. It's to you, and it's hard to comprehend, because when these things happen, because they're so uncommon.
You have to listen.
They're common, but uncommon.
Bring this to a
knowledge.
Yeah, very important to work with someone who understands true cellular detox. How to understand the brain detox, because in this condition, these thyroid and adrenal issues that are chronic, most of it starts in the pituitary, which is in the middle of your brain, that runs the thyroid and runs your adrenals. Every article I write about this, that's the magic word. That's what ultimately fixed us. The mercury from amalgam fillings and other sources goes right up into the pituitary, which is the control tower for your whole hormonal system. So it's important that you work with a practitioner who really understands getting to those sources, understands cellular healing and cellular detox, doing it right. You remove the cause, you remove the sources, the body does the healing. Yes, iodine plays a really important role. Yes, all these nutrients, we talked about selenium, antioxidants, all this, that's only part of it, folks. The key, though, is going upstream, removing these sources from your life, removing these sources from your body. That's what R1 really is. Read them. We have, systems that we teach doctors around the country. We have 60 trained around the country to do what we do. That's really where my passion is. I want to remind people, last 2 weeks ago, I talked about the three-legged stool of autoimmune. Please go back and review that, because it plays here with Hashimoto's as well. When you look at this three-legged stool, that really brings us a different type of solution that most doctors are not aware of. But that's the real science. That is the cause of these conditions, and that is also the answer to these conditions. So please go back and watch that. and it'll put in context a lot of the things we talked about on the show. And I want to just leave them with one thing that, on Facebook, one of my patients saw this and said, well, I started doing it, Dr. Pompa, and they just, now it's like my hair stopped falling out and I'm actually losing weight again. What was it? Well, that Renu you gave me, I gave them this product for another reason. Okay. It was a diabetic neuropathy, but anyways, because it has amazing healing. I cut my finger so deep the other day. I couldn't stop the bleeding. I came in, I put this on it, and I put it on it. It immediately stopped the bleeding. And the next day I showed my wife my finger. She was like, I'm like, yeah, it was this. So I'm a firm believer, but this person.
No, I did the same thing. Look,
yeah,
this little cut, I cut myself, sprayed, I did the liquid C on it.
Yeah.
And it stopped the bleeding. I mean, it was a gusher.
When you did that, remember with the elbow? The thing
yeah.
Around
I was with your son, took him bass fishing, this one on Erie, laid it open because the crank came back and laid me open. So he quick grabbed the C. I mean, this was a gusher. I self-stitched myself with the little things, sprayed it on it, stopped the bleeding. I mean, I never.
Amazing. Yeah, that's what I did. So anyways, so she saw this on Facebook.
This is what I sprayed.
I've heard, that's the liquid. This is the one that we use on our skin. I took all my age spots out. I mean, amazing, right?
It's clinical research that says that it does that.
This is where it goes to thyroid. She saw on Facebook to rub it on her thyroid. Okay. Now I knew of this. I knew people were doing this, but I became a believer when she said that she saw it on Facebook. She did it, and she said, Dr. Pompa, she's like, my hair's not falling out now, and I actually started losing weight again. So Renu 28 rubbed on the thyroid. Now I'm going to tell you, men out there, there are many men who are rubbing this somewhere else on their testicles for other reasons. As I said the word, but anyway, so
I can't believe you. You're getting like me. You're not afraid.
Yeah, but honestly, it's a redox signal that absorbs. And redox plays an amazing role in the thyroid. For those who have problems directly with their thyroid, I think those are the people who massively see the change. So I started doing it.
This is in my basket.
I don't even have a thyroid problem, but because, 50.
Hey, if it worked for her and it was on Facebook, I believe it. So what the heck?
Exactly. So I thought I'd leave the show on that note.
That's a great, hey, no clinical research, but we have some anecdotal evidence that this redox signaling product, which it is, they have it, the molecules, isn't it? They can say redox signaling now, right? Yeah. They can say that it really does do what it says that it does. Yeah. So, and I know when I take it, again, it's a nutritional supplement. It has to be. It's not a FDA approved product. It is it's considered a food, right? And all supplements are that way. And they're trying to steal those rights off us, obviously. But these nutrients, these breakthroughs, man, that really do what they say they're going to do. It's amazing. And this is one of those powerful products, man. It's one of those huge ones. It is a direct sales in product. Who cares? It's the only way to bring it out there. I don't care. In some health professionals, we stay away from MLMs because we don't. If it's helping people, man, do it. If it's going to help you, do it. That's it. Does it make a difference? I want to be a part of it. So it makes a difference. I got my basket over here. It's in this basket. I got my shelf full of supplements. We live what we do. And now I'm going to start rubbing this on my thyroid, but nowhere else.
Yeah. I don't believe that. I think he's going to rub it everywhere else. But anyways, yeah. So, honestly, you're right in what you said. It really is one of those products. I drink the liquid every day. Years ago, I started drinking because the athletes, the cycling world, uses the liquid that you showed, the ASEA, to raise their VO2 max naturally. And that's where I got addicted to that product. It is a product that really does work. And it's not sodium chloride, folks. It's Redox. And when they came out with this skin product, Warren, I don't know that I've missed many days of putting it, on my face.
Because you lost Florida,
I did, exactly. I lost that big. I had that right. I called it Florida. I had a big.
Well, you can't see it right now because of the lighting, but I actually put it. I do put it on my arms.
Well, you can't see it anyway. It's gone.
Yeah.
Then I had another one that I was like, I hate it over here. And it was really bad, and it took that one out too. So
I have one of those right. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little indent there.
You have to use it twice a day, man.
I know, because I only do it once a day.
I did it that way for probably 3-4 months, you know, and then that big
It helps.
bad one started decreasing. So there you go.
All right.
Well, we got to wrap it up. We gave them so much information today, Warren, that I think that we're going to get too many emails. It's probably going to take me a day to answer them. So.
Well, and some would say maybe too much information.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Have a great day. Great weekend, guys. Thanks for watching. Share this video with your friends online. Like us on Facebook. Go type into Facebook, Dr. Dan Pompa. Like our fan page. God bless. Look up, like Cellular Healing TV too on Facebook. We got that too. Share the media. Bye-bye.
Bye.